You're mute again. Okay.
Hello everyone, welcome to Future Justice Talks. I'm 𝗔𝗕𝗢𝗏 Justice Wally, your host and student at Rehan School Online Academy, where I'm learning about AI communication and leadership skills. Today, I'm very happy to welcome our guest, Rosemary Moyo. Rosemary studies molecular and cell biology at University of Connecticut with a minor in Bioinformatics. She works with the science and data to understand health and diseases, and she's passionate about using research to make a difference in healthcare. She is also the founder of 𝐷𝗕𝗢𝐂𝐄, a program in Zimbabwe that mentors young students who want to build careers in science. Along with this, she works as a venture analyst at Hillside Ventures, supporting early stage STEM startups in healthcare, biotech, and digital health. Today, we will learn about her and we'll talk about her journey in science, mentorship, and entrepreneurship, and how she is making an impact. So let's get started. First, thank you so much for joining me. How is it going?
Hi, Zainab. You're welcome for the beautiful introduction. I'm happy to join you today and hopefully to be an inspiration to your followers and yourself. And I'm open to any questions, comments, as well as maybe, suggestions that you might have.
Thank you so much. So we will start by your journey. Can you tell me how this all started?
I would say when someone says who's Rosemary, I think that's where we should start from. So initially, I come from Zimbabwe, so I'm an international student at the University of Connecticut, and I was interested in microbiology at first, actually, and potentially looking forward to pursue my career, potentially maybe as a doctor of trauma, but then also highly considering microbiology. Then I went through my A-level studies when I was still back home, where we have about 6 years of high school, and then you write Cambridge exams or some psych exams. And from that, I had about 7 months before starting university to do any work. It could have been voluntary work or working at an actual company. So I decided to work as a health clinician intern at a local clinic back in my home country, in my hometown, a clinic that is understaffed, that had only one attending nurse with a lot of patients that she had to meet on a day-to-day. So I was helping with diagnostics, doing drug dispensation, patient care, counseling, you name it, all those things. Um, so during that time, I realized that I was very good at, of course, connecting with people and being of service, but I didn't have enough emotional capacity for the job in medicine because, of course, I was shadowing a nurse and doing literally everything a nurse does except giving injections and the stuff. But I realized that I wanted something, a field that I would feel I had more in terms of the opportunity to be innovative, challenge new ideas instead of working with stuff that already has been recorded in an area that's restrictive. I also wanted a field where I wouldn't be too emotionally drained because people don't give people that work in the medicine field so much credit for the amount of emotional drain that they have, be it doctors, nurses, anyone that works within hospitals, clinics. That is a very demanding job. Besides skill, it needs you to be very strong emotionally. And sometimes I'd have days where I'd knock off work and I just could not do it again. But then I'd come back tomorrow as well because there's still some patients that need to be met. Because within that time, I met over 1,000 patients that I had an impact on for the community. As much as the role was enriching, I then decided I did not want to be a medical doctor. So during that time, besides the health clinician intern work that I was doing, I had also done science fairs back in high school, as well as done a couple of independent projects as well. Then I realized I might want to be in biomedical engineering. So initially, I started my university education in biomedical engineering, looking at computational and systems biology within the first 2 years of university. So within this first 2 years of university, my first year, I was looking at places where I could make impact or I could be of use, gain more skills, as well as being an asset to people. So I started my entrepreneurship journey there, but I would beg to differ. That's not really where my entrepreneurship journey started because I owned baking businesses. But in this case, they weren't science related businesses. It was just baking, selling, supporting my mom and the stuff. And then in my first year, I then joined Wortherman Institute of Entrepreneurship. And that's where I founded my nonprofit that helps students in Zimbabwe, preparing them for science fairs, which is something that we're currently going in the direction of it. Instead of it being preparing students for science fairs, we're leaning more towards an incubator approach where we just don't want students to be going through science fairs. Because I am a product of science fairs as well. But then the question is, after you go through the science fair, what is that student going to do with the innovation that it made? Most of 9 times out of 10, students quit the project afterwards, be it lack of funding or just different interests that they get to develop. And we want students to actually have the chance to develop projects that help the community whilst also improving our country's economy. And then after that first year, I now had the founders aspect of entrepreneurship, and I was looking for places where I could explore entrepreneurship in STEM. So I applied and got accepted for Hillside Ventures under the STEM fund, which is focuses on investments within the field of STEM. So I applied and then I got in under the healthcare vertical because they have three verticals, software as a service, healthcare, as well as manufacturing. So I did healthcare because I was a biomedical engineer, of course. And during my time with Hillside Ventures, in the healthcare field, I started seeing how much investments are actually put for these startups and how startups are the lifeline of economies and innovation within medicine as a whole. And through this experience and an internship, of course, back home in pharmacodynamics, kinetics, I got to realize that I actually liked computational biology, but not just the overall computational biology that I was doing with biomedical engineering, which wasn't concentrated. I figured that I would love to be in bioinformatics, explore building data pipelines, DNA sequencing, RNA sequencing, transcriptomics, stuff like that. So I then changed and then started doing my major, which is molecular and cellular biology, with a minor in bioinformatics where I just focus mainly on anything computational biology based, but particularly stuff that's within bioinformatics that could be helpful not only to this country, but internationally as well. One of the skills that are needed. So I would say in a nutshell, that is me, and I'm open to questions from you. That was a lot.
Wow, it's really amazing and how it started and how it's going. Wow, it's so amazing your journey and how like we are continuing it. So moving to my next question, what inspired you to start Kudzidza and how did you take the first step?
So for Kudzidza Kuneutano, as I said, I'm a product of science fairs. But when I did science fairs, that was my last year of high school. And I did not have we didn't have a mentor specifically just for science fairs, having someone on the go for science fairs. So we had to consult our teachers at the schools for all the projects related stuff that we're doing, also using research method skills that we were taught in research methods class, which we were very fortunate to actually have research methods class at all. And this was because I was at a use a community school, which gave me that opportunity to be exposed to research methods. But when I started university, I just had a good reflection and I realized most students do not have the resources to prepare them for years. And then with my Hillside Ventures and venture capital, Like, okay, we actually don't have systems as well that support students' innovations past science fairs to do stuff that impacts their communities as well. So when I started Kuneutano, I wanted to give high school students a chance to have not only the people that have experience with science fairs, but to have access to professors that have published research papers that have actually done research and had some impact. And then I was like, okay, but what next after these kids go to science fairs? We need them to be establishing businesses that actually flow so that we can fuel our economy and improve our communities. And that's how we have Kudzidza today.
Okay, it's so interesting how you what inspired you to start your own company and business is amazing. So, Rosemary, I want to ask you, how has being a molecular and cell biology student has shaped the way to solve real life problems?
I would say saying being a molecular biology student, I wouldn't say that has made a change in how I approach things because bear in mind I have an engineering background in biomedical engineering plus molecular biology classes, and then overall I'm a molecular biology major with a minor in bioinformatics. So I wouldn't say molecular biology is the major that really contributed to how I see the field of medicine, but I would say it's accumulation of both degrees and classes as well as real life experience that has really challenged the way I view the field of medicine, besides, of course, investments in healthcare and my first-hand experience working in a clinic and dealing with patients before university. That has really impacted the way that I see the clinical needs that we have, particularly for my home country. And that's why I ended up going into bioinformatics, and I look forward to continuing bioinformatics and computational biology because it's the fields where we lack as a country. And overall in the world, yes, we need computational biologists, particularly with the growing age of not only regenerative medicine, but rather medicine focusing more on longevity. We need people in computational biology, even for drug discovery, right? We need computational people. So it's accumulation of efforts. And if you look at it, if you are going into computational biology, you will not only be using molecular biology theory, you'll also be using some engineering theory, you'll be using some theory in math, right? So it's accumulation of all these concepts into one thing that can make impact.
Wow, it's amazing. So I want to ask you that how did you choose to minor in bioinformatics and how does it help your biology work?
So for me to have a minor in bioinformatics, that was because initially I was in biomedical engineering and I was doing computational systems biology, but that was very broad and I didn't have an avenue to really focus because computational systems biology was the actual concentration. So I was now looking for an avenue where I could actually do something that's concentrated while still getting the biology knowledge for me to be applicable to the industry. So I had one of two options, either do computer science and focus on bioinformatics or do molecular and cellular biology and also have minor in bioinformatics where I can apply these skills. So having molecular biology to give me extra biology classes for me to get the biology knowledge was essential as I continued the bioinformatics minor because at the end of the day, I will go into computational biology, particularly bioinformatics. But if you want to really be an asset, particularly in computational biology, you not only have to understand the computational part, you also need the biology part. Because imagine you can code, right? You screen the data sets, and then now you have the results, but you don't understand the biology behind. How are you going to interpret those results? See, you can't. computational biology without the biology or without the computation. So that's how I ended up having a minor in bioinformatics. But then the minor as well, it's a minor, but I've already done a couple of computational classes in biomedical engineering itself. So if I had a student who was doing molecular cellular biology and wanted to do bioinformatics, I would definitely encourage them, do more computational classes as much as you also do biology classes to make sure that you have both skill sets.
Wow, it's amazing as you describe this uh, bioinformatics. So, as I want to know any story of your students you mentored have made you proud. Any story of the student you have?
I would say for my students that I've mentored so far, a student that makes me proud till this day, I would say, I don't pinpoint one student, but I would say accumulative of all the students that I've mentored. Something that really touched me after mentoring them for the first time was seeing how their perspective of the world and the opportunities that they have changed them, changed the way they think, changed the way they go about their things. Because consider the students are students that do not know the opportunities that are open to them, do not know what they can get, despite the backgrounds that they come from. Because the students that I work with come from backgrounds where most of the times they don't have access to these resources. So seeing them join groups to further the opportunities that they can get so far was really inspirational. I wouldn't say inspirational, but it was an aha moment for me because most of the times we get lost on students getting awards, winning competitions. That's not the end goal. Yes, a student can win an award, but then the question is after that award, what is it? Has the student changed their mindset? How are they going about their day to day now? Are they a better version of themselves compared to when you started the program with them, which for me is way more important because I'm an example of if I hadn't gone through USAP Community School, which is the school I went to for A level, and gone through the process and stayed the same, I probably wouldn't have done everything that I would have that I've accomplished so far. But seeing the students just change their mindsets and go about opportunities in a better way, honestly, is enriching and satisfying.
Oh, amazing. I love it. So, do you teach the students online or physical?
It is online because the student, not all students are at the same school, but then as we progress, we will definitely have a segment where they can meet during the holidays just to develop more community. And instead of it being just students online with their mentors, it'd be students in person, seeing what they can achieve and hearing from other people's stories as well. But that's only limited to Zimbabwean students.
Okay, amazing. So, as also you are you research and you experiments. So, I want to ask, what is one research or project experience that challenged you the most, and how did you handle it?
A research experience that challenged me the most. I wouldn't, I would pick this one probably because it's my favorite so far, which is very typical, which is the research I did last summer, which focused on looking for antimicrobial and antifungal properties within plant compounds that are used for traditional medicine back home. Because, most of the times, if you ask, well, offer somebody who's sick traditional medicine, they're most likely going to say no. But when you look at it using the science and seeing why that medicine works, that is a change in the way you view people do traditional healing back home. So that was really fascinating for me to now think about it, but the drugs that we get them through getting the sub-compounds from these traditional medicines. And then besides the wet lab work, because I had to get my own data, research and does pipetting knows that pipetting is just so hard. And not just pipetting into single walls, but 96 wall plate pipetting. That was very difficult part of my job because I was trying to determine minimum inhibition concentrations. And if if the reaction just failed, I to redo it. I don't know how many times I redid my reactions, but at the end of it, I managed to get a couple of bioactive compounds that I could list down as well as model computationally to see how they behave with the molecule inside. And that research led to what I am currently focusing on within bioinformatics.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Rosemary. It's amazing. So, as looking back, what advice would you give your younger self when starting in science and mentorship?
Advice to my younger self would be do not be scared to take up space. Do not be scared to take up space for what you like. And I would definitely say kudos to my younger self for being brave and very open-minded and explorative because even my mom till this day knows how much of a very explorative person that I am since a young age. If something is just not something that I like, I am not going to stay in that place and just continue being comfortable. I like being uncomfortable because when I'm uncomfortable, that's when I'm most innovative and I get to see challenges that I can utilize and get opportunities from. So I definitely tell my younger self that. And definitely pat my younger self on the back, of course, because as much as you push yourself, you also have to sit back and be grateful to your body for putting in the work that it puts in for you to achieve so much.
Wow, amazing advice. So, thank you so much, Rosemary Moyo, for sharing your journey and advice with us today. And I'm really inspired to hear your work in science mentorship and biology. And it was my first time knowing more about biology. I have just heard it as a subject and I've never studied it. But today I really learned more about that. And I have found someone who is interested in science. I'm really also. So I really learned very much from you. Thank you so much. And also to everyone watching or listening, I hope you feel motivated to follow your passions, take action, and make a difference. Just like
And
Rosemary.
before you close up, I would say when you look at any field, be it biology, be it, let's just go straight with the sciences that are just straight sciences, biology, chemistry, physics. Those are big fields. So if you find what you like in that big field, find what you like and be the best at it. Not just finding it and just saying, okay, I'll just do, because I do biology for classes, but I just don't do general biology. No, it's focused. Biology, immunology, that's my field, right? In bioinformatics. But when you look at any field, please just be serious and look for a place that you can be the best in.
Oh, yeah, thank you so much, and I will follow. Thank you so much, everyone. This was a Future Justice Talk. Stay curious, stay bold, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.
It was a pleasure.